What has one of the world's best-known opera festivals and environmental protection got in common? What's unique about the Northwest? And how are the Irish Defence Forces breaking all green records? When it comes to setting goals, meeting challenges and hitting targets, it's hard to beat the Irish Defence Forces. So when I was invited to Collins Barracks in Cork, I couldn't wait to see how the Army was going green and declaring war on waste. I reported to Captain Sharon McManus to learn more. Do I call you Captain McManus?
You can call me Sharon, Duncan.
That's
okay.
Great. Thank you.
No problem.
And I really want to hear about all the environmental initiatives that you've got on here in the barracks.
Right. Well, I suppose we'll go back to the early 2000s with waste management for a start. We found that our waste amounts were increasing all the time, and also the cost of waste was increasing all the time, and it peaked in 2002 where we were paying well in excess of €1.5 million to dispose of all of our Defence Forces waste. So clearly something had to be done. So the first thing that we did was we tried to tackle our waste going to landfill. We put in a programme starting in 2003, and I'm pleased to say that between 2003 and 2010 we have now reduced our amount of waste going to landfill by 80%. And we've also reduced the cost of that from 1.7 million down to 408,000 this year.
Wow, that's an incredible change.
Yes.
How did you achieve that?
Well, the first thing we had to do was to put in infrastructure. We put infrastructure in place in every barracks by building waste recycling centres, providing them with balers and compactors, providing all of the different units within barracks with smart bins. And once that was in place, we started an education programme. And I suppose that's the most important thing, education. You have to try to change the culture, you have to upskill personnel. So bit by bit, year on year, we've managed to reduce our waste. This year now, with the introduction of composting, that's another 20% taken out of the waste going to landfill, and reducing that again just to 20% altogether.
That's an incredible success, though. I'm absolutely astounded. 80% from all of the barracks in Ireland.
From all of the barracks in Ireland.
And how many soldiers?
We have an establishment in the Defence Forces of 10,500 people. So it was a case of, you had to give them some incentives to do this, obviously.
Results like these take careful planning, ambitious targets, and the cooperation of the troops at all levels. Wasteful energy consumption and disposal is eliminated by using incentives and cultivating a competitive spirit. Captain McManus's team created a clear energy management plan that each barracks commander could implement.
So we gave them the tools necessary. We trained an energy management team within the barracks. We gave them checklists and templates whereby they could monitor their energy in the barracks. We asked the barrack accountant within each barracks to send back monthly usage return figures so that we could, as a corps and as a Defence Forces, build up a profile of what was happening within each barracks within the Defence Forces. And I suppose that was the first thing. So we put that in place in 2008, and I have to say the energy management teams have gone from strength to strength in every barracks.
Dating back to the 1800s, Collins Barracks overlooks the city of Cork from its commanding position on the hill, bringing the energy standards into the 21st century and setting a new benchmark shows just what can be achieved when we approach it in the right way. The team's track record speaks for itself and has secured funding to bring their green plan to the next level. Photovoltaic solar collectors for electricity generation at the naval base in Haulbowline, Cork, are part of a new initiative to replace oil and explore new sources of energy for overseas forces.
What we are hoping to replace it with would be either heat pump technology, which we are also using in Haulbowline at the moment, and we feel that 1 or 2 1-megawatt wind turbines would be very effective in this area. We would be in a position in the future to replace our oil usage and also offset the electricity usage with wind power.
It looks like it could become zero carbon on this island very quickly. They've also energy retrofitted some of the listed buildings and are optimistic about reaching higher targets in the future. How is it that the Army can do this? What is it that makes this happen in the Army?
A lot of people think it's easy in the Army because you can give an order and it's implemented straight away.
Would that not be the natural reaction? There's a commander and he sends down instructions and everybody obeys.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on where energy is on the priority list, and obviously the operational commitment always takes priority, and energy is just a byproduct of having the Defence Forces. Unfortunately, giving an order isn't enough to affect energy management, so we had to incentivise it. We had to, first of all, give the stakeholders, the key personnel in each barrack, ownership of energy. It wasn't enough for the head people, the director of engineers in Dublin to say, I want you to save energy and this is what we're going to do. You can't really do that. You have to give them the tools to do it, and you have to also give them ownership of it. And any motivated person, if you set them a target, they will always try to achieve it. And certainly motivation it was never lacking in any of our barracks or our barrack commanders. So what you have now is a cultural change, whereas maybe 10 years ago, if you asked, your average soldier about energy, they wouldn't have even known what you were talking about. Now everybody knows that energy is on the agenda, it's on the table.
I think it's incredible what you've achieved so far, and I know you're going to meet your targets because you're so committed. But going green in Cork isn't just for the Defence Forces. Across town, Cork Institute of Technology has an EPA-funded programme to save money, raise awareness and put a dent in the 1.2 tonnes of waste produced every day.
We're tackling areas of waste, energy, water, and of course paper use as well on campus. An educational facility, we would use a lot of paper, so we're really trying to tackle that at the moment.
Is most of what you're doing showing that you can save money here?
It would be, yes. Alone this year, up to